Sunday night, when we landed back at Joint Base Andrews on Air Force One, President Trump came off the plane to gaggle. So what it means to gaggle is when the president comes down and he speaks with the press and they throw out questions, they pepper him with questions. And so last night, Sunday, President Trump came over and took some questions. So I, of course, did not miss an opportunity to ask him about things that I was interested in and issues that I also know you are passionate about. And one of the issues we are all passionate about is keeping men out of women's sports. It is insane that we even have to have this conversation in 2025, that grown men are in locker rooms and on sports teams with little girls. But some of these liberal states, these leftists, do not want to comply with the executive order. And of course, they're now going to have some funding stripped. There's going to have to be hell to pay if you keep pushing men into women's sports. And so last week, Gavin Newsom said he does not want to comply with the executive order, right? He does not want to get men out of women's sports. He has flip-flopped on this issue, but that's because Gavin Newsom only answers to his donors. Gavin Newsom doesn't stand for anything, right? I don't know how, as a father and a husband, he wants men in girls' locker rooms. And I actually asked President Trump about this on the tarmac at Joint Base Andrews. We have a clip.
Gavin Newsom's fighting to keep men in women's sports. He's fighting with Bondi, McMahon. As a father, as a husband, does he hate women? Why does he want men in women's sports so badly?
No, I don't know if he hates women, but look, he thinks it's good politically, I guess. He's just saying Gavin Newsom wants to keep men in women's sports. Nobody understands it. Very few. I say it's a 3% issue. You know, they say it's 80-20. It's not 80-20. I think it's 97-3.
So I couldn't be more grateful that President Trump gave us the time, that he took some questions, and I just had to ask that because it has just bugged me since last week. I don't know what kind of man Gavin Newsom is, that he is now fighting with Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon, to keep men in women's sports. This really isn't even an 80-20 issue anymore. When I speak to people, I can't find hardly anyone who thinks this is okay. Of course, there are deranged, radical leftists who think men should just be able to have, carte blanche into any space because they decide to identify as a woman. So President Trump, I'm glad he pointed out that it's not really 80-20, it's like 97-3, and I don't know what Gavin Newsom is doing. If he wants to run for president in 2028, good luck to you, because Americans want common sense. The reason President Trump won every single swing state and the popular vote is because he ran on a platform of common sense, and the left has gone way too far left, and they've been co-opted by this small radical minority, right? This loud but vocal minority in their party is who they've been taken over by. So Gavin Newsom, good luck to you if you want to run in 2028, and good luck to you in this fight with the DOJ, with McMahon, with Bondi, to keep men in women's sports. I think it's absolutely insane. As we saw with Penn recently, and Riley Gaines, Paula Scanlon, and the entire swim team that had to compete against Leah Thomas, they have now gone back. Right? They have now gone back, they have acquiesced, and they have given in and folded to the Trump administration, as they should have, right? You should not have men in women's sports teams or in women's locker rooms. And so I'm grateful to President Trump for taking the question. One thing I also had to ask him about was Rosie O'Donnell. As you guys know, I do these Rosie O'Donnell updates. She's over in Ireland, but she still likes to opine on American politics. I don't know why. I don't know why she left the country, and she still wants to chime in on everything we have going on here, but she must have a strong Wi-Fi connection over in Ireland. And so I had to ask President Trump about this as well, because when we were on the trip with him over the weekend on Saturday, he did a post on Truth Social about Rosie O'Donnell. So we have it here. He said, because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country, I'm giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her. God bless America. And so I had to ask President Trump about this, because you know what? I'm there to ask the things that I know you guys are interested in. So we got men and women's sports. I asked him a question at the round table that was a more moving, deep, thoughtful question, but I had to ask about Rosie. I had to ask about Rosie O'Donnell. And you guys know, I've met Rosie O'Donnell before. I met her years ago. We took a picture together. She was perfectly fine, a little weird, a little wonky, but what do you expect? Most celebrities are. But Rosie O'Donnell, had to ask President Trump about her, and here's what he had to say.
So Rosie O'Donnell, she went on Chris Cuomo show recently. She blamed you for the fact that she's overweight, depressed, and drunk. What do you say to that? Do you think PDS is going to ever be a DSM-5 diagnosis?
I don't know about Rosie. I watch Rosie. Rosie's a mess. She's a mess. But she left our country, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
I'm also grateful that Rosie O'Donnell has left our country, but the point is, when you leave the country, when you flee the country because you don't like the president of the United States, which is a ridiculous reason to flee the country, also a very elitist thing to do. Most folks can't just leave a country and move to Ireland when they want to, but she's part of the 1% of the 1%. She's a rich, famous celebrity, so she moved to Ireland. I am so happy she's gone, but why do you still want to chime in on everything we have going on here? If you left the country, then leave. It's like you leave the party. It's like you leave a party early and then you come to work on Monday and you want to know everything that happened after you left. What did you guys drink? Did you go to an after party? Did you go to a bar? Why do you care? You left the party.